Midlife and you are here for it. You are ready to make a huge change. You once knew exactly what your purpose was, where you were going. You had this incredible drive. You achieved it. You checked all the boxes and you arrived in a space and you went, okay, that was then and this is now. And what I once felt, I no longer feel. And I'm in a space where I'm feeling like I have to do something kind of drastic and I have to do something powerful to stand in this new space, this new part of my life. It's this sandwich space in my journey, right? And you're ready to really kind of harness those talents and skills and then kind of put them in a different direction, right? And so you're ready to start fresh and you're just not exactly sure how. Well, if that's you, then hi, my name is Jen. I'm the founder and owner of Laughing Lotus Wellness. I'm a transformational purpose coach and expert. And what I do is work with women in midlife who are in a space where they know that they've got purpose, they want to create huge impact, but maybe where they were isn't where they are. And they're really ready to step into creating a different sense of success and purpose together at the same time. And they're ready to repurpose. And so what we do is work together to get clarity about what that's going to look like, where you've been, where you're going, how we're going to do that. And we find and tap into your unique energetic signature so that you know what that means in the world, right? Because probably likelihood is you're not exactly quite sure what the heck I just said. So that's how I step in and support you. And so what I want to leave here today, we're going to be talking about mindset and abundance, and I cannot wait to share something so exciting with you all. So if you are new to me, what I want to just briefly drop in and just say is, so I have been in the field of psychology as a clinical social worker for over 20 years. And one of the things that you spend a lot of your time in is mindset. It's shifting thoughts, right? And so that's a really powerful tool that I taught clients for a ton of years in one space. And now I've repurposed, I'm doing it in a different way here and now in this coaching modality that I love to offer women. And so today we're going to be talking about that. And what I wanted to do was start off by sharing an incredible success. I just found out literally like 5 minutes before I was hopping on here. It was like this, like, whoa, got a message from one of my dear friends that I won an opportunity to be a part of a book that is going to be coming out through someone that I deeply respect. That is a huge deal. And we took part of this collaborative journey, and our story is going to be a part of this book, which is just like, I have no words. If I said to you, like, I just love that I'm teaching abundance. And this flowed in right before I was going to come in and talk to all of you today. I'm so freaking excited. And I don't want to leave details yet because I know enough to be dangerous. So when those details become readily available, I will share them with you. But I was literally like, like my daughter was like, what's happening? I'm like, a thing is happening. A thing is happening. And she's like, are you okay? Yeah, so much abundance, so much abundance. So this was my response. Oh my God. So I just wanted to share, I celebrate all my wins as much as possible. And I love sharing them with my coaching clients because it's our reminder to stand in the place of honoring when something is flowing in for us. And so to me, this isn't money. It isn't pure money, right? But that's not the point. This is something beyond money. This is something that is such a privilege and an opportunity. That's abundance. And so I just want to, like, right out the gate, share this mindset shift that I had, that it took me my own journey with working on manifesting abundance to really understand. And so I hope that you too can sort of make that connection, that look at this incredible form of abundance. And that's not just money. It's not just dollar bills in my bank account. This is a privilege and an opportunity. And that is so freaking abundant. Like, I cannot even tell, like, I'm grinning from ear to ear. I feel like I'm just gonna be like all day, like my face is gonna hurt because I'm so freaking excited. But let's get to the content. Manifesting abundance and abundance mindset. So I've talked about this a little bit here and there. You may have even heard some of that. Hang with me today. So I've got a different novel idea that I love sharing with you all. So there's something called Matrika Shakti. Matrika Shakti. The words all together do not want to come out of my face. Matrika Shakti. And so what that is the energy of words. And so I know I've been a nerd about language my whole life, and like just the power of language. And it's why I love writing. It's why I love reading. It's why I'm careful and mindful about the language that I use in my life. And now there's a phrase. Do you ever love when that happens? You're like, thank you, Jesus. So Matrika Shakti is the energy of words. And so I am such a nerd for this. I was like, this is so wonderful because it's actually perfectly timed with us talking about how to set your mind shift in a new direction, right? So one of the things that we know that's really powerful as a part of a journey is if I don't shift my mindset, very likely the things that I want are not going to follow. So some of the things that I hear from women that I work with, what happens if I leave? What will people think? Will I be okay financially? What happens if I lose my support? What if no one understands? So there's all these fears, these fear-based ideas that can come in for women when they're ready to make a transition because they're like, people around you don't always necessarily understand, or you haven't even been able to necessarily verbalize where you're really wanting to go and what your vision is yet. And so people can kind of get lost in the shuffle in that, right? And so there's a lot of fear-based thinking that can come with that. So that's the opposite of abundant thinking, right? And what we want to begin doing is really understanding that it's powerful to step into using language that aligns with where you want to be going in your life. So today we're going to talk about I said, you have a relationship with your thoughts, right? So you're going to hear me say this again and again and again, the relationship, the relationship, the relationship. I'll be diving more deeply into that in the next coming month when I do my abundance, my manifesting abundance work masterclass. And so we're going to be talking about the relationship we have with things. So get on board, seatbelt in. And I said, are your thoughts your bitch or are you theirs? So if you're walking around the world and your thoughts are, this won't work, I can't have this doesn't belong to me, let's find some other ones. I found some in a book I love. I can't, I'm not enough, I can't cope, I've made a mistake, I have to, I should, I'm flawed. Okay, those are just a handful, and like every one of us has some. I'm going to be real honest. Like all of us come from a place of from time to time we're going to be the bitch of our thoughts, not the other way around. And so I really want you to be thinking about this, and it's just using humor, right? So I want you to imagine though, if your thoughts were a relationship, how are you showing up to it? Are you kind? Are the thoughts kind? Are they mean? Right? Do they have nasty energy to them? Even if it's at you, it can be at somebody else or you, right? Is it about abundance? And is there just this kind of like fruitlessness? Like this isn't going to matter. There's nothing I can do to influence this. I can't, it won't, right? So we start thinking about where and how is that showing up? We want to rewrite this. We're going to do a little exercise. So I invite you, you do you, okay? I invite you to take a seat, get comfortable for a minute, right? Just a couple of minutes. Hopefully it's like lunch and learn. That's why we do it at noon, so that you can be present and doing hopefully your lunch and just spend a little time with me. Thanks, Natalie. Truth bomb. We all have our stuff. Yes, we do. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a little exercise today. One of the powerful things we can do, and many psychotherapists do it, Natalie probably does it, I've done it, I'm sure that many of you that have listened have done this in some capacity. Maybe you didn't even know what it was. One of the things we want to do is rewrite our story from time to time. And what I think is really important is going in and looking at the spaces where we had belief systems and thoughts that don't serve us, okay? And so we want to go back in time and find a space or a story where something was not feeling abundant in our lives, a place of lack. Okay. So I'm going to tell a story quickly, and then we're going to do this because I want to give a frame of reference. I feel like that's really important and helpful when we're going to go do this journey. So some of my women I told you are, I'm afraid of what people will think. Been there, done that. How will I do this? What if this doesn't work? What if I fail at this? Right. So when I made a big transition, when I did my lane change at about 40, I went through some of this, but I'm going to tell an even deeper story. So stay with me. And then we're going to go in and we're going to do a little exercise and practice for this. Okay. So back in the day, I was about 17 and my world imploded, and it's a longer story than I'm going to tell today because it's long and it's sad and it's hard. But for today, the piece I want you to glom onto, because I think it's powerful, is my relationship with abundance was completely shattered. So at 17, I went from having cars, a nice home, a really great school that I went to, the ability to pay for that schooling, all the things, right? There was no need I couldn't have accessed in some way, none. And mostly 90% of what I wanted, if I'm being really honest, super blessed. And we went through a really traumatic family experience and we literally lost everything. And so what I mean by that is my mom was gone. my dad moved out, an aunt moved in. I had to work to cover the cost of insurance for my car, all my stuff. And so I went from being a kid to being an adult in a very short amount of time. And the cupboards were pretty bare. I certainly didn't get much of what I wanted because now it was down to brass tacks and it was really what I needed. And so two things happened that were really pivotal. Okay. And this is why I want to share this story. I want to just talk about that it crushed my sense of a relationship with money. That money, if you had it, would disappear and you would be devastated. And that was my story. That was a legit thing that happened to me, right? So I'm not dismissing, I'm honoring that story. But what I realized as I've aged was things like I always have way more than I need in my cupboards. Always, always, always. It's a thing. You come to my house, I'll just tell you right now. You'll look and be like, what? My family helped me move back in the day. It's been a long time. Was we moved from our first house to the second house. My mom and my sister were like, you have 10 boxes of pasta. I mean, they were like, we're going to do a pasta prevention. Like they were seriously concerned about my wellness because they were like, what in the hell is happening with all your boxes of pasta, right? That's comfort to me. Comfort to me is having an abundance of things. It used to be because I went without and I knew what it was like to have and then have not. And so that was one piece. And then the second piece, okay, so that was where the idea and the thought, the story got crushed. Okay, so I want to share that. Secondarily, I want to share a form of abundance that landed in my lap. I was not going to be able to afford the school I was at. And I've told this story, but I just want to, for those of you that are new or haven't heard the story, I literally was not going to be able to go to school anymore. Now, this was a private school in Madison, Wisconsin. It was a Catholic school, beautiful school, small, intimate. I had been there since junior high. I was a junior in high school. And we were really afraid I was not going to be able to continue school there. And my family had done as much as they could. Like people had pitched in. It was like as much as we could kind of eke out. And we were right on the cusp of my having to leave school. And a family anonymously donated the money for me to stay at school. And it was one of the first deep awarenesses of abundance and gifting that I ever received in my life. And it was so profound, it stayed with me. It always will. There won't be a day that I'm not so deeply grateful for that. And I have my ways of then giving back because abundance is an exchange, which we'll be talking about more next month. But I wanted to talk about being crushed by something. And then also this beautiful form of abundance that showed up in my life. And I don't know what the hell I did in my life to deserve that moment of greatness. But I was so deeply grateful because at that time, I cannot imagine with all of my world turning upside down, having to change schools. It would have been, I mean, like trauma times 10, imagine, right? And so it was the only solid thing I had in my life was my friends and my teachers. And it was the only thing I had that had like roots and groundedness in it. And so my gratitude is beyond measure for that story. So I want to share that piece because I want to say that I have been without, right? I think it's very easy in our stories and getting to know people online that we just look like we've got our shit together and everything is great and everything flows. And like, I'm sure your life was awesome. I've had people say that to me. And I'm like, oh my God, like I just don't talk abundantly about those places and spaces in my life where things have been really, really hard. And I don't do it because I want us to all live in a fantasy land, but because like, that's just not my mind space, right? I've done enough growth and enough shifting and changing that really I spend much more of my time in that positive mind space. But I'm always reminded, like, remember to tell the story because somebody needs to hear it. Somebody needs to know that you can go through that and recover. So my point is, and what I want to circle back to, and then we're going to do our exercise. This is the very reason I created the Manifesting Abundance Masterclass I'm offering. When I went in to do this journey and sat down and started doing my own personal work in recovering and recalibrating my relationship with abundance and wealth and money, I mean, when I tell you I sat for like, I swear to God, 2 hours straight. I wrote questions, I wrote mantras, I wrote stories, I wrote letters to people who were part of a journey that were really painful for me around money. I wrote a letter to money. And so I began to sit down and do all this work. And I'm like, oh my God, everybody needs this. Everybody needs this. I feel like if you're walking around the world and you got the straight A, like relationship with like money and wealth, I'm not worthy. That's all I can say. Because, and I wanted to pull that line back, that thread backward to say, look at what happened to me at 17. My life was demolished. I mean, that's really what it felt like. Not only did I have a trauma, we lost everything. I mean, I really experienced it as losing everything. And so money became this monstrous thing that I didn't have a relationship with anymore. It was scary. It was inaccessible to me. Okay. Right. So I want to be honest about that and authentic about that, because that's really coming from a space of like my journey and my heart and pain and trauma. And so I had to go back and do that work. Okay. And it's still a work in progress. This is not perfection. I am doing the journey with my clients that are joining me for this Manifesting Abundance Masterclass. I am doing it with you. So this is not like the guru, here's all my wisdom, right? Oh, I got wisdom, but I got wisdom because I earned it and I'm still doing it. I'm still figuring it out. And I'm still having to stand in it, right? I'm still having to really bring awareness to this piece of my journey. And it will be work for some time because I'm unraveling a lot of stories. So what do we do with those stories? We're going to go back and maybe take a look at one or two in your life. Okay. Exercise time. So I invite you to close your eyes. Soften your gaze. Don't look at me. Turn off your camera. Whatever you got to do. You don't need to see me because that's not going to help you. I want you to begin to just deepen and lengthen the breath. Finding an anchor through that seat and maybe imagining that there's roots that can grow out through the seat and are going to anchor you into the earth. And I know this is going to be hard for some of us, but I want you to go back and imagine a time that was really tough, where you definitely felt lack, loss of abundance, loss of wealth, right? Go in and grab one. Let's not write like, so for me in my story, I'm not going to go back and grab the entire story. I'm going to pick one piece. I'm going to pick one piece. And I invite you to do the same. And today, for the purpose of this exercise, I normally would not do this. I'm going to tell you what I'm envisioning, okay? So my abundance I'm going to envision is when I was going through this journey, it took place in one of my homes, and I'm going to imagine that home, the fridge, everything full of food, and a home full of love and connection, okay? And so I had some of those things in pieces, but not what I needed at the time. So that's what I'm going to go back and work in. Okay. So you pick yours. And what I invite you to do is just begin to, again, deepen, lengthen that breath, really connect to the breath here. I want you to make sure, and I invite you to have your hand on your chest, because what I want you to also witness is I want us to make sure our breathing doesn't get shallow or we hold our breath, because this can be a little anxiety provoking. But this is growth. So we're going to do it together. And I invite you to just witness that breath, placing that hand in the heart, and maybe even a hand on your belly if it would make you feel more steady. Sometimes people really like that, whatever feels good to you. Pulling forward that story, the image of a time that was tough. And calling forward now the image, rewriting the story. And I want you to imagine, like a movie in your mind, seeing that completely different in a way that was so full of abundance. Picturing in your mind, going back, and you're going to just touch on the sad part and then really pull in that deep awareness, deep sense of abundance. What does abundance look like at that time? Maybe it was more money. Maybe it was more food. Maybe it was more time or connection or love, peace. And I want you to go in and I want you to grab that situation in your mind, and I'm going to have you create a new story. So for just a couple minutes, I'm going to go silent, radio silent here, and I'm going to invite you to work that out in your mind, see that vision, have that story, rewrite it with a vision of something more powerful and more abundant. So with the breath now going in, having that vision, watching that movie in your mind, and we'll come back in just a moment, just breathing here, watching the breath. few more moments here, checking in with the breath. And as always, we work in layers, and I'm going to invite you to take a moment and just count blessings around that story. So there may have been people, moments, things that were actually really powerfully helpful. I'm going to go in and look for my resolution in my family that was generous in their donation. I'm also going to look at the fact that I did have a roof over my head. I had a car to drive. I had a job that helped me get those things done. And so I also want you to just take a moment and steep yourself in gratitude. And perhaps it isn't gratitude for that moment. Maybe that's too hard. Maybe it's gratitude for something you've got right now. And letting that gratitude fill and expand inside your heart center, every single cell and every single corner of the body, just really experiencing that abundance as it flows through the body. Deep gratitude. Deep, deep gratitude and thanks. Just a few breaths here. And as always, healing through the layers, I want you to imagine that we started in that space with a tough story, and we went in and we re-envision, we rewrite, we repurpose a story for something that is more powerfully aligned with that sense of abundance and light in the world, right? It's actually the way you're divinely created. And so we went in and we visualized having a different kind of story. And then we went in, right? The next layer was gratitude. We want to steep ourselves in gratitude. If we can find the silver linings of the moments in a story that was tough, that's so powerful for us. And even if we couldn't, we just grabbed onto gratitude that's in the here and now. And the way that we're going to close out today, eyes still closed, heart space connected to that hand, just breathing is a little mantra. So I'm going to keep you in this space and that mindset for a few more moments. And we're just going to call in some ideas and intentions to settle into this notion of abundance in our lives. And so in your mind's eye, just thinking to yourself, saying to yourself, abundance is my divine right. I am the light of abundance. Abundance is flowing in, around, and through me. I am trusting in the flow of abundance. Abundance is always trying to find its way to me. I'm grateful for all the abundance in my life. And now taking just a couple of soothing, extra long breaths here. I want you to take some really deep, full breaths. What we're going to do is we're going to inhale through the nostrils and blow out through pursed lips like we're blowing into a straw. So inhale in, big belly breath in. Exhale it out. Second, big belly breath in. Exhale it out. Last and best breath. Inhale into the belly, into the ribs, into the chest. Big expansive inhale. Exhale as slow as possible, releasing that air out through the lips. Sink and settle. Hands in the lap, returning to the breath. Sitting in this moment, sitting in the transformation. That was 4 or 5 layers of healing, 4 or 5 layers of work we're doing. Ending even with some breath work to soothe our bodies, our nervous systems. And when you're ready, you can drop the chin to the chest, slowly opening the eyes, and coming back into the present, coming back into your space. And just having had that moment to tap into rewiring the way that your brain works. And what happens is our brains remember, it holds the way that we formulate our belief systems. So it's really important to go back in and rework that and change it. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. Did our practice today heal and soothe all the pieces and the stories of lack that you might have in your life as a whole journey? No. It's the beginning steps of what we want to do over and over and over again as a practice. This is a tool that you want to go in and you want to harness that. And you can do this with so many things. I mean, the thing is, if you really expand what I just did with you, you can use it in a million ways, actually. So if you go back, use this, save this exercise, save this video if you're watching later, tuck it away and save it, because it's really powerful to come back to and practice. And what you can do is you can fast forward through my talking and expressing. Bless you. You can go back and just grab the practice component of this, right? Mark that time, come in and do it again and again and again. And what you're going to do is you're going to unravel some of those old stories, rewire, rework, have gratitude, add some mantra, do some breath work. And I have news for you. That mathematical equation, very, very powerful. Like I said, in a lot of ways, we could use that same exercise for a lot of different things. But for today, it's really about calling that abundance in. It's really about understanding that mindset is so powerful. And we're going to be talking about whether that flow is on or off. We'll be talking about that more as we go in this month. But I really wanted to just bring in that awareness about how can I shift my mindset? And some of that's really deeply powerful psychological work, right? Like we went back, we grabbed a story, we rewired it. We didn't have a lot of time there again, because I'm always doing these like with, pretty quick intention and turnaround. Can go back and spend even more time doing this. But I would really want you to reprocess some of these pieces, right? That's a really powerful component of recreating and reinventing a relationship that's different with something in our lives. So this month we're talking about abundance, but it could be your impact in the world, your purpose. It could be so many pieces that you can go back and redo and have this different sense of how you have a relationship with it, right? And so I would really want you to kind of go in and imagine what it feels like to go in to start some work like this, and then reassess yourself, come back in and go, okay, how am I feeling now? Am I feeling any more grounded? Am I feeling any more blessed? Am I able to have a different relationship and sense of abundance in my life? That's what we want to do. We just kind of check back in with ourselves. So it's just a check. It's not a grade. It's not a judgment. No judgment attached, just really stepping into the space of awareness. And so that's really what I invite you to do for these journeys. So if there's anybody that you think could use this, please feel free to share and tag them out, send this out into the world, because I love, these are like my favorite. Like the exercises are always experiential stuff. Always experiential stuff is just lights my soul on fire, because I think it's a doing. I think as human beings, we want to spend time in it and being, but also it's so powerful to begin to build toolboxes with really powerful things that we can access all the time. And so I'm a fan of, like I said, store it away, keep it for a rainy day when you're struggling, and come back and utilize it again. That's why I do them. And that's my hope, is that you'll be able to come back and use them again. So as we close, you have heard me speak to this upcoming event that I've got going on. I'm so super excited. So I've got this Manifesting Abundance workshop coming up. It's going to be masterclass. I'm going to keep calling it 4 different things: Manifesting Abundance and Masterclass. And I am so excited to host it. We're going to begin on Monday, September 12th. It's 40 days long. So before you gasp, die, and turn me off, understand that it is not 40 days of seeing my mug every day or having to do a high level of work. What it really is very much self-study, which is a yogic philosophy. We'll be talking a little bit about that, but really what it is On Mondays, I will be coming in live in community and we will be hosting a meditation to support your journey. And then every other day that you're doing it on your own, you're going to have a principle you're going to be working on, reading, journaling about it, spending time in reflection and meditation on it, and away you go. Super easy. It doesn't take a lot of time and energy. It's just shifting. It's just creating a new habit. That's why it's 40 days long. If I send you into a masterclass for 3 days and we do this, if there's no accountability or support for the rest of that, there's every likelihood you're going to fall off this new habit. That's why I didn't just want to like, here's all this awesome information. Good luck, best wishes. It's really powerful and important that we actually spend time together and have a forum for accountability. So you'll get a free Facebook community with me. That's just the people that are doing this journey with us, and super, super easy to get signed up. If you head over to laughinglotuswellness.com/abundance. Again, that's laughinglotuswellness.com/abundance. Get signed up, super easy. And we're going to hit the ground running in September. So this is why we're sort of priming the pump right now this month as we're talking about abundance. Next month is manifesting. So it's like perfect timing to kind of combine those two things, pull them together, give you some sort of like structure. And that's really what this process is going to be about. I'm creating a workbook. It's almost done. Got a beautiful abundance quiz for you to take when you start to see where you're at. You're going to take it again at the end, see how you're doing, right? It's a little bit of that assessment, a little bit of looking at and celebrating your growth and progress as you do these journeys. And you'll have it to kind of reference in the future as you go down and continue to practice, because I'm sure you will. You'll want to have something to kind of take a look at. So those are things I'm creating and offering. And I hope that you'll come join me. It's $0. I mean, it's literally costing you nothing except for a book that I would encourage you to have. You don't have to, but I would encourage it. And you're otherwise your time and energy. You're only going to be exuding about 5 to 10 minutes of energy every single day, hopefully at the start of your day, but you might opt somewhere else. That's fine. To really begin shifting, changing, and growing. I have some videos I've already created that I'll throw out there to help support that journey, walking you through step by step. We're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff in this community. So I'm so excited and just really fired up about the content and the fact that I get to be of service, that when I get abundance in, I'm going to send it back out in the world. And this is one of my gifts to all of you that are going to join me. So if you've got a friend, a family member, someone, anybody, you, whoever, please share this out. Let them know about this. It's really going to be a powerful and beautiful journey. I'm super, super excited to share it. And so I hope that you decide to come and join me and be part of that as well. So until next time, my friends, blessings, love, and light. This is Jen signing off, supporting you on your rise and your paths of purpose. And you know that abundance and manifesting is a great skill to have in doing so. We'll be talking about that in the community as well. So take care until next time, everybody. Blessings, love.